Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at a deeply sobering story. It's a true narrative about ultimate sacrifice, a desperate, breathless pursuit, and ultimately, swift justice. We're going to examine one of the most intense and yet shockingly brief manhunts in the entire history of the FBI. This is the story of Billie Austin Bryant.
You will die in jail, but at the time God so appoints. Think about those words for a second. They're chilling, right? Judge Gerhard Gesell spoke those exact words on November 3, 1969, and you can practically feel how suffocating the gravity in that courtroom must have been. The stakes? They absolutely couldn't have been higher. But to really understand how we got to a sentence with such absolute finality, we actually need to rewind the clock. We need to trace the crazy escalation of events that led one man to commit the ultimate crime.
Section 1, Escape and Armed Robbery. Okay, let's dive into this. Our story actually starts with a catalyst, a convicted bank robber who was absolutely desperate to stay out of federal prison, no matter the cost. The escalation here was just staggering. Billie Austin Bryant was already a convicted bank robber, looking at a sentence of 18 to 54 years. But in August of '68, he makes his move. While working in the auto shop at the Lorton Reformatory in Virginia, he literally crashes a car straight through a chain-link gate and a temporary fence to break out. It's like something right out of a movie. By September, he's officially indicted as an escaped federal prisoner. Then, fast forward just a few months to January 1969, and Bryant is right back at it. He hits a bank in Maryland. The crazy part? Two tellers actually recognize him from before his previous conviction. He flees the scene in a maroon Cadillac, and boom, the FBI is immediately on the hunt for that specific car.
Section 2. A fateful, tragic encounter. Now, the tone of this story shifts drastically here. What was supposed to be a completely standard, mundane neighborhood canvas was about to turn incredibly deadly.
So it's January 8th, 1969. Three FBI agents head over to an apartment building in Southeast Washington, D.C. They know Bryant's wife lives there, and they're basically just checking the vicinity, hoping to spot that maroon Cadillac parked nearby. When they don't see the car, the agents figure, hey, let's just head up to her apartment, advise her of the robbery, just in case Bryant tries to reach out to her. But here is the really chilling detail. As those agents are walking up the stairs, they actually pass Bryant's wife walking down. They just unknowingly walked right past her. They had absolutely no idea who she was at the time.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sudden contrast between a routine day and utter chaos. Step 1. An agent knocks on the apartment door. Step 2. The door opens just a crack, and a man inside tells them Mrs. Bryant isn't home. So the agents identify themselves, they ask to come in, but the guy denies them entry, claiming it's not even his apartment. Then comes step 3, and this happens in a fraction of a second. The man inside, who was in fact Billie Austin Bryant, opens fire point blank at the three agents. No warning, just a quick succession of shots, and he slams the door. Two agents are struck. The third agent manages to fire back through the closing door and then just sprints back to their FBI car to radio for immediate help.
Section 3. Honoring the fallen agents. Before we get into the massive manhunt that kicked off after that desperate radio call, we really need to slow down for a minute. We must take a deeply respectful pause here. We need to remember and honor the lives of the two agents who were rushed to the hospital but, tragically, were pronounced dead on arrival. Let's take a look at the distinct backgrounds of these two incredibly dedicated men side by side. You have Special Agent Edwin R. Woodriffe, born in Brooklyn, New York, carrying a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting. Before he was appointed as an FBI agent in May of 1967, he had already served as a police cadet and as a criminal investigator for the U.S. Treasury Department. And alongside him was Special Agent Anthony Palmisano, born in Newark, New Jersey, with a bachelor's in business administration. He actually started out with the FBI doing clerical duties back in 1960, working his way up to earn his appointment as a special agent in 1967. These were two distinctly different paths, but they were entirely united by a profound, unwavering commitment to public service and to justice.
So the crucial point is that this tragedy also marks a profound, very somber milestone in American law enforcement history. Special Agent Edwin R. Woodriffe was the very first African-American FBI agent to be killed in the line of duty. His sacrifice is a stark, solemn reminder of the immense bravery required of the people who protect us. And, 50 years after his death, his native Brooklyn actually honored his enduring legacy with a special street renaming ceremony. Section 4. The 2-hour manhunt. Okay. Getting back to the timeline, immediately following the horrific shooting, that apartment building was totally surrounded by D.C. Metropolitan Police and FBI agents. They pump tear gas into the apartment, but when they finally breach it, they realize Bryant is gone. He'd escaped by climbing down a tree right outside the rear bedroom window. And that triggered one of the most intense, massive manhunts in the region's entire history.
Now, what's really interesting about the sheer speed of this situation is just astounding. 2. That is the exact number of hours Bryant spent as a top 10 fugitive after warrants were issued that very same day for robbery and murder. I mean, his time on that infamous list was incredibly brief.
We're talking hundreds of agents and officers. They're deploying helicopters, dogs, setting up roadblocks everywhere. But you know what broke the case? The community. Right around 6:50 p.m. that evening, a super alert citizen living on Mississippi Avenue hears these strange noises coming from the attic right above his apartment. Now, he'd heard about the shootings nearby, so he was on high alert, and he calls it in. A robbery detective responds, announces his presence, and get this, a voice literally calls back from the attic, identifying himself as Billie Bryant. In this crazy twist of fate, Bryant had climbed up there to hide, but the door jammed. He had completely trapped himself. He was arrested without any further incident, and he even provided a signed statement admitting to the shooting, although, of course, he tried to claim it was in self-defense.
Section 5, Swift Justice and Lasting Legacy. Well, that claim of self-defense was put to the test really fast. Let's look at how forensic science stepped in and completely dismantled Bryant's story, which really paved the way for a swift legal reckoning.
The meticulous work by the FBI laboratory was just undeniable in court. An expert testified that the fatal bullets removed from Special Agents Woodriffe and Palmisano matched Bryant's revolver perfectly, period. Other bullets found at the scene shared those exact same rifling characteristics. But the most damning piece of evidence, the one that utterly shattered the self-defense lie, gunpowder residues were found directly on the dead agent's coats. That conclusively proved that Bryant fired his weapon at absolute point-blank range the second the door opened.
With irrefutable evidence like that, the legal system moved rapidly. By March 1969, Bryant is indicted. In April, a Maryland state court convicts him of the initial armed bank robbery. And then finally, on October 27, 1969, a jury in U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C. officially finds Billie Austin Bryant guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder.
And that brings this explainer full circle. Because the jury couldn't agree on the penalty, the solemn responsibility fell straight to Judge Gassell. He handed down a definitive, unyielding sentence, ordering Bryant, quote, to serve 2 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole. And to add to that, these life sentences were to begin only after he finished his original 18 to 54-year sentence for his previous crimes. The very next day, U.S. Marshals shipped Bryant off to the federal penitentiary in Atlanta, ensuring he'd never walk free again.
It was a remarkably swift conclusion to a deeply, deeply tragic saga. But the impact of that day, it really stays with us. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final vital thought. Over 50 years later, how do we ensure the ultimate sacrifice of those lost in the line of duty is never forgotten? Take a moment today to think about the dedication of Special Agents Edwin Woodriffe and Anthony Palmisano. Think about the history they represent and the profound risks taken every single day by those who step up to protect our communities. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack these facts today. I'll